Hey everyone, thanks for joining me in today's episode of Super Smooth's Test It, Fix It, and Run It, where I take one of my locomotives that's been sitting around and I test it, and if necessary, fix it, and I'll definitely run it. So let's see what today's locomotive is. So when I was a kid, I used to build model airplanes, a lot of model airplanes, and Revell, was one of the kits, probably the second most frequent after Monogram. And I didn't even realize they made HO locomotives. Oh, wow, that's interesting. External drive shaft and a reinforced plastic one at that. That's pretty neat. I've seen that a few times, not a whole lot. It's kind of weirding me out to have this drive shaft under there running like that. But let's take a look at the box. It's, barely intact. Gosh, I still can't believe that. That doesn't look like it's going to be quiet. But yeah, let's take a look at the box. So yeah, I was saying I never knew that Revell made HO equipment, even though, my father collected stuff. I guess I never bought anything from Revell and never mentioned, when I brought my kits home for my airplanes, that company made trains too. But it's just pretty nifty. At least the box isn't in great shape, but it's in good enough shape for me to take a look. And I guess this is the Revell Road Diesel, of course, in Santa Fe Freight paint scheme. They've got everything you need. They've got one of those cheap transformers, bunch of curved and straight track bumper, and they even have figures. Let's see here. So yeah, like I said, I've never seen this before, and here we go. Yeah, so wow, that's pretty neat. Welded details. Really? I mean, they're gonna weld that? Oh, okay. All right. Well, it's pretty okay. So what else they got? Bonded bodies, chip-proof real train colors. Yeah, I guess it is chip-proof. I don't see any chipping on it. It actually looks pretty good. It's nice and glossy, a little bit jelly. But yeah, figures and loads. There's no figures, so they've lied to me there. Low center of gravity metal underframes, heavy-duty metal spring trucks. I don't think I've seen any of these. Well, I went and looked into this a little bit more, and I found, the instructions online for this thing, and it doesn't show a lower drive shaft in that one, so it looks like they changed it after about a year, and here's the version that this is, if you're interested. So pretty nifty. It looks pretty functional. It looks like it's been used a fair amount, but it's been kept pretty well intact. But man, all these kinds of external drive shafts, they're all noisy. I've never had one that just isn't noisy. And of course the body isn't there to kind of dampen the sound, but there's just probably something that's just kind of sloppy about the way these are made in general. Let's take a look at it here. Ooh, big open frame motor. This is probably not something I would try to DCC. Wow, look at that big old weight. It's a steel weight. Let's see what's in. Oh, let's flip this around here. That's pretty interesting. So the mold date was 1956. It's pretty neat. I mean, never seen one of these, so I guess I'm learning. Maybe some of you are too, but maybe some of you are Revell aficionados. I don't know if I've ever heard anybody talking too much about these, but if it's something you're interested in, here it is. Oh, this looks like an open frame motor, something my dad would have had, and something that he was putting together from Bowser or something like that. It's just not something I would want to DCC. It might work. In fact, it probably will work, but it probably won't work super duper well. And I don't think I'm going to try this. I think I'll just go ahead and keep it a DC model, or I'll just use the shell, or maybe I'll move it on. But it's pretty chunky weight. Let's put it on the track and see what we get. Okay, that doesn't make me super duper hopeful. I can't even tell if any power is getting to this thing or not. Just doesn't seem like it, and I don't have a current meter attached to this, and I'm trying to fix that. But let's go ahead and lubricate this a little bit, and maybe that'll help. I don't know if the light bulb just doesn't work. I mean, often a tip-off, right, is the light bulb will light up pretty brightly when at least it's getting power, but I can't even tell if it's getting power now. These are not great, but they don't look bad enough to the point where there just shouldn't be any power coming through. So, let's see. That's pretty neat. It's an interesting system they've got going on here. I don't know when I'll come across one of these again, but let's go ahead and clean the wheels. It's always a good start, right? And that way we know at least we're getting good connectivity. And we'll just oil this external gear just a little bit. Let's see here. Okay, well, goodness knows that is not the quietest locomotive ever, but it is at least a working locomotive. Huh, you know what? It actually, as soon as it started to work, it's got some stiction, but probably a lot of it has to do with the dirty wheels, and my track here isn't so great. So it's working. Yeah, it's doing the thing. It's not too bad. Let's see if I can just, instead of putting up on rollers, which is what I should have done, let's just see if I can kind of simulate the rollers and just let this thing run. And see if I can clean off some, there we go. Not bad. It almost sounds like an RC car that has some sort of sound chip in it to make it sound like some sort of drag car. It's so noisy and so growly. I'm just, well, again, it's not a good DCC candidate, I don't think. I guess it could be if I replace the motor, but it's going to be so noisy. I'm not sure if it's really going to be worth doing it when I could go get a more modern model. And you know what? This thing's kind of growing on me a little bit, but I still don't think I'm going to DCC it. But it actually has decent low-speed response if it starts to get going. Maybe if we just put the shell back on it, it'll be happier. It's like the shell has a home. It wants to go home. Yeah, let's get it back on here if we could get it on here. Why isn't it going on very easily? Don't want to break it, but it's guaranteed not to chip, so that's good. I'm not sure if is Revell even still around. There it goes. You know, it's kind of a handsome looking locomotive, and I don't see too many of the freight colored Santa Fe's, at least not too many, you know, as far as the ones I deal with. So yeah, that's pretty decent. I always see the war bonnet, and I know they use those for both. But I guess unless something really happened, they wouldn't use this particular paint scheme on a passenger train. But then again, who knows? Maybe if things got really rough and they just needed some more power, this is what they would use. As per usual, though, trains are often a lot stickier on this track than they are downstairs, where I just have more amperage to work with, and my track is cleaner because I keep it clean. Whereas this one, I kind of clean it when I'm just thinking about it. Let's just get a little bit of oil in here. Whoops, that was a little bit more than I really wanted to. Wow, this thing is, it's interesting, that's for sure. I'm glad I have it. I'm glad I've seen it. I'm just kind of scratching my chin what to do about it. Well, let me go ahead and give you a running session. I'm going to have to go downstairs and see if this runs better on my track. I appreciate you being here. Take care. Talk to you later. Happy model railroading.